Hey, Cashflow Ninjas, real quick before we jump into today's episode. I've been asked by many people recently, what has been the one thing that has made all the difference on my journey as a business owner and investor? I started businesses and I've invested in businesses. I've invested in single family real estate, multifamily real estate. I still have a sizable portfolio of multifamily real estate, historic resorts, mobile home parks, oil and gas, life settlements, gold and silver, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I could go on. But the one thing that has changed the financial trajectory for myself and my family has been infinite banking. Yes, you heard that correctly. That is the number one thing I've done over the past 2 decades that have made the single biggest difference. And it's not even close. Setting up and building out a family banking system using infinite banking has enabled me to create my own financial system. This year, it has allowed me to focus and not pay attention to all the chaos in the global economy and global financial markets. I really don't pay attention to all the noise about tariffs, trade wars, markets violently going down and then going back up, or interest rates skyrocketing and wrecking real estate deals and other alternative investment deals. Do not be beholden to other systems. Create your own system. If you're interested in working with me and my team at Producers Wealth to set up your own banking system or your own business and family banking system, then go to getwealthyforsure.com. That's getwealthyforsure.com. When you go to getwealthyforsure.com, you can request a free copy of my best-selling book, Get Wealthy for Sure. Only pay for shipping. You can also watch all of our presentations and schedule a call to explore infinite banking options with me and my team. You don't have to be powerless amidst the chaos. You too can have a financial strategy that provides certainty, predictability, and clarity. You and your family can also get wealthy for sure. Go to getwealthyforsure.com to start your journey today. The world is going through changes. Changes happening at a speed that we have never seen before. This is leading to disruption, chaos, panic, fear, hysteria, and a turbulent economy and marketplace. How do you protect your wealth in a turbulent world? How do you invest for cash flow in alternative assets to escape the rat race in times of uncertainty? How do you decentralize yourself, your family, your community, your business, and your investments to become sovereign and escape the matrix? If you are looking for strategies, tactics, and techniques to escape the rat race and matrix, you are in the right place. My name is MC Laubscher, and this is Cashflow Ninja. This is Cashflow Ninja. I'm MC Laubscher. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode and spending your most valuable resource, your time, once again with me on the show. Everything Cashflow Ninja is at cashflowninja.com. We have over 1,000 podcasts, 4 books, reports, webinars, and much, much more. It's all at cashflowninja.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the #1 newsletter in the alternative wealth strategy and alternative asset investing space, the Wealth Dojo. You can subscribe to the Wealth Dojo by going to cashflowninja.com/subscribe. That's cashflowninja.com/subscribe. I've got a fantastic show for you today. I'm joined by Dr. David Powers. He's got an incredible story, and he's got a great strategy to generate different streams of income using and positioning content. It's, one of those strategies where you do the hard work once and then it just keeps paying you over and over and over. Really excited for this conversation. Dr. David, great to see you again.
Oh man, I'm glad to be here.
I've been looking forward to this conversation. We have connected recently, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversations in front of a microphone, not in front of a microphone. So I'm excited to share you with my listeners and my viewers. For my listeners and my viewers that's not familiar with Dr. David Powers, can you please give a little bit and share a little bit about your background and your journey with them?
Oh yeah, man. I've got so I am a homeschool dad of 5 kids, a serial multipreneur, I guess. Just I can't stop starting businesses. I get so many ideas, and I have recently bought a small farm in upstate South Carolina, and so moving into the homestead agritourism kind of thing, and the it's been a lot of fun though. I'm kind of doing the swords and the plowshares thing though. I mean, since I was 17, I've been in jobs where people shot at me. And now I'm kind of just settling down on the farm and just enjoying life and enjoying sitting out on the porch and watching the animals and everything as much as I do anything now.
So you're in your journey. You alluded to it there, but you were in the Marine Corps, and you were also a combat medic, right? So
Yeah.
you've had some interesting experiences. What was that like, and how do all of those skills help you in what you're doing today too?
It's so much fun because it's a weird thing to say, but when bad things happened, that's where I went. And I was glad to be there. I mean, you hate for the bad things to happen, but what a joy it is to be the person that can help when those things happen. And so I went from the Marine Corps to the Army, and I got into the medical field. And after that, when 9/11 happened, I was a founding member of the Department of Homeland Security before it became the bloated mess that it is now. I was one of the ones that helped start it and specialized in disaster medicine. And so when hurricanes, terrorist attacks, things like that would happen, I was the guy that showed up first and dropped in. We set up field hospitals, and it was a blast just helping people at their worst moments.
It's incredible. So, and again, the core lessons and principles that you've learned as part of the Marines and obviously as part of the military. What were some of those core principles and lessons and philosophies that you still use today, as an entrepreneur?
It's a discipline under stress, I guess, is the way I would put it. Multitasking, just being able to, and not trying to do everything at one time, but just being able to set up systems where I can have multiple projects going at one time. Because I mean, we would go from trying to treat somebody on an ambulance to at the same moment somebody's shooting at us, and we're having to plan an exit, and we're coordinating resources. I mean, all this is happening at the same time, and that was an everyday occurrence. Now in my business life, just managing homeschooling kids, a home office, everything I do at once, I wouldn't be able to do it without the lessons I learned.
Where were you deployed all over the world? Because you must have had quite some adventures.
Oh man, excuse me, getting tongue tied there. A lot of it was here at home, hurricanes, things like that. Spent some
Yep.
time in Africa, not down in the south where you're from, but up in Tanzania and Kenya, and some time in the Caribbean in some of the less savory places in the Caribbean. And we had a lot of fun though. Hurricanes were kind of my specialty. Going in after hurricanes, when people were looting and trying to tear things apart, and all the people that weren't entitled to the things were wanting what was left over, and we had to help fight some of that back.
So you have really seen what it looks like when, the proverbial, popo hits the fan. Uh, and because we all talk about it, and there's a lot of obviously companies these days in the prepper kind of space, if you want to brand it that way, survival prepper space. But you've actually seen what this actually looks like when a storm comes through, the electrical grid is out. You don't have access to basic things like water, food, and of course, when people don't have access to water, food, and electricity is out, there's some interesting characters that come out of the woodwork, and people start doing very, very naughty things. Uh, what were some of the things yeah, can you share some of the stuff that you actually saw on the ground? What does this actually look like?
Oh yeah, there's a good saying that even in a first world country, the entire civilization is only 3 days from chaos. You disrupt a supply chain, you take food or water away. One of the big ones that still sticks in my mind is Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans, because it was such a big city that just went completely apocalyptic in no time at all. And some of it happened before the storm. And the way that the shootings, the raping, everything else that happened at the Superdome. I mean, we're talking about a place that has been featured on, well, it's featured on national television every year with the New Orleans Saints, and absolute chaos. And I've got pictures. We were flying over in helicopters and bodies everywhere where people weren't able to evacuate, or they were robbed and murdered and just left. And that's in a big American city.
Right. So mentally too, I mean, people can relate to this. Did you ever think that you were going to see people fighting over toilet paper in, Costco in 2020? And it was insane how people reacted. Again, my experience as a young man in South Africa, I learned that people behave very irrationally under stress and when
Oh yeah.
they don't know what's going on, and there's fear and fight or flight, that kind of stuff. But people have already had a taste of that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even it's a wealth of experience that one of my side businesses, which isn't even my main thing, but I still publish courses and things like that, helping people put together bug out bags, and because a lot of people think preppers are just nutcases, just crazy people. I like to work with people like me and you that if there's a wildfire or a train wreck that spills chemicals in the air, that you can evacuate your house in 30 minutes, kind of a thing. And I like to work with people like that, just ordinary people like us that want to take care of their families.
It's almost like, to your point, it's been the marketing has been so crazy that people look at prepper and survival kind of stuff as like, oh, they're crazy people. But it's basic like strategic and overall planning that you have to. I mean, for our businesses, right? My
Yeah,
businesses have disaster plans in place. I hope I never ever have to use them.
yeah,
But if something does happen, we have backup communications. We have a whole list of stuff that, hey, if this happens, here's what we need to do next. So we have a plan in place. Your family should have one of those things in place too. What if, again, the grid goes down, power's out, water, or something like that? You should have all those. That's just basically survival stuff, right?
oh
Or
yeah.
just basic common sense and planning.
Yep, exactly. I mean, the thing is that even the government says everybody should be ready to stay alive 72 hours without government assistance. Well, I was the government assistance, and they even, when we would go in by helicopter, we had to be self sustaining for 72 hours before we could even expect a backup. I mean, so yeah, it's complete common sense to me. But I run into a lot of dads because I work with a lot of dads because the wives will usually send me to the husbands and they'll say, "Hey, you need to get in touch with this guy." And dads that don't even know how to change a flat tire, that if their kid falls out of a tree, they don't even know how to put a splint on them until the ambulance gets there. Yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
crazy stuff.
Yeah, what's interesting too is and you can pick up skills one or two skills per year. I was just thinking about, in your experience, just being a combat medic, right, and going through that training. Even if you just go to like your local training, EMT training service, I mean, they have them in your area,
Yeah.
um, that you'd be able to help your family, you'd be able to help your a neighbor or a community in whatever situation. But that's a very, very useful skill. You don't you don't have to be trained to go into a combat zone to help
Right.
folks medically, but just general stuff of taking care of the ones that you love, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the great thing about homeschooling, every year I put my kids through first aid, wilderness first aid, CPR. I even put them through bloodborne pathogens so they know what germs are because that's science class for us. And
Yeah.
there are so many adults that have never been through those classes, and yet, if there's an emergency out somewhere, it's a shame and a prideful thing for me that my kids will be the ones to respond and help people. I mean, that's the shameful that those other people aren't. But man, I'm so excited when my kids jump in and they're helping people out when they're hurt.
That's awesome. Awesome. You have this, you talk about mastering the art of living. And what does that mean to you, and how do you incorporate this philosophy into your daily life and for you and your family?
Yeah, that's kind of the main goal. Like a philosophy is, I was reading a Seth Godin book. I think it was Tribes where he wrote this, and he was in Jamaica in a hotel, and he was it was late at night, and he was sitting in the lobby because that's where Wi-Fi was, working on his laptop. And somebody walked up behind him, a couple walked behind him, and he heard her say, "What a shame it is to come here and have to work." And he said he was thinking, I'm working because I enjoy it. I love it. I don't want to quit working. I do when I need to, but I'm thinking, Seth said this. He said, I'm thinking what a shame it is to have to take a vacation to get away from your work. And that's mastering the art of living for me. That's always stuck with me that um, I'll quickly, like we're recording a podcast right now, but as soon as this is done, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to see what my kids are getting into and maybe join them for a little bit of fun and maybe even go throw the football for a few minutes before I get back to work. And so the art of living is not so much balancing all that stuff, but finding the right time for the right stuff.
Right, and incorporating everything into it. And it's the same with my kids. I mean, they get to see that, and that's how they learn too, right? It's like children learn by looking at what their parents do. So it's
Yeah.
like when you are telling your children, like, hey, you should have an abundant, full life where you get to experience many different things. You pursue your passion. You health is a priority. You create great experiences with your family. You should actually let them see what that looks
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah. Let them see mom and dad having fun, doing things that, not just telling them to do the things. It's interesting because I know you've said your kids are into sports, and I'll go to all the practices that I can with my kids, and
Yep.
I'll be the weird dad that's either out there playing with the kids or I'm exercising while I'm watching them. And
Yep.
so many of the parents, though, they'll sit in the car with the car running, the air conditioner on, playing on their phone. If they do get out of the car, they're still sitting there playing on their phone. And it's like they have no clue that even though the kids are out on a sports field listening to the coaches, they're still looking over, seeing a mom and a dad doing nothing. And I'll be honest with you, it's weird. Sometimes I'll have so many kids. It's a little embarrassing for their dads, but I'll have kids come up to me and say, wow, I wish my dad could do that. Because I'll be slinging a kettlebell or something. And it's just, you look like Tarzan to these kids while their dad looks like, I don't know, somebody from the Family Guy or something.
That's right. Yeah, and we talk about that all the time of how to live and leave a legacy, not just working on the legacy piece where it's like you're going to leave something. It's like no, live it, show them
Yeah.
while you're alive and while you're doing it. The thing that I'm very excited to talk to you about is multiple streams of income, and you are an uber entrepreneur, always starting. So tell me a little bit about the multiple streams of income. What inspired you? What was kind of your moment on your journey where you're like, I this is what I need to do?
I find that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into usually two circles. Some of them can be extremely focused on one singular thing, and it's easy for them to do that. Others, like me, we fight and fight and fight and keep trying to do the one thing, but other things pop into our head. And it's not always ADD or anything like that. It's just there's so much interest and so much passion for so many things. And so I just enjoy doing multiple streams of income, getting into different aspects of what can make me money, what can supply me time freedom to spend more time with the kids. And when I say multiple streams, a lot of people think, "Oh no, David, I'm gonna have to add 10 more side hustles to what I do, and I've got to work a full-time job and 3 part-time jobs, and that's what you mean." But no, it's finding ways to find your core passion and what God put you on earth to do and make money from that in different ways. Like for me, kind of the perfect example for me is content. And I've got this book sitting on my desk, which a guy I know wrote, Mr. MC. And
Yeah, well, for
but that's
sure.
the perfect example. Is I'll create a piece of content like a video or a book, And then the multiple streams come in when I turn that into a course, and I'll list that book in 15 different places online to sell it. And sometimes I'll give it away almost like it's a business card to get, like a lead magnet to get more emails on my list. And that's what I help moms and dads do, is to go from all the side hustles and side jobs and a full-time job to learning how to do several things all at once by just, you know, finding what they're meant to do.
That's awesome. What were some of your favorite ones right now? You said content is where you started to build like a information product, like a course, a book, and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff that can be sold over and over. What are some of your other favorite ones?
Some of my really favorite ones are the passive ones, and passive income is not. People think it's just I don't have to do anything. Most of the time, you got to at least start it up. But I call it passive adjacent income. And so basically, the ones where I can get it started and it keeps making me money. One of my favorites right now is yield farming with crypto. And I've dabbled in crypto. I've dabbled in some of the active projects, and it's not. It's like the stock market. I mean, because there are a lot of similarities in the actual active work in doing crypto or the stock market. I don't enjoy that. That's not how I want to spend my money, because I don't know, it keeps me inside the office too much. And so I've found some passive streams where I can just, whether it's hodling Bitcoin or working the yield farms. And so crypto, I really enjoy. Um, it's erratic, and I tell people not to get into it unless you have some extra money to throw away. And if you
Yep.
wake up tomorrow and it's gone, that's just what happens. But I
Yep.
really enjoy it. It's been fun.
Yeah. And you also, one of the things too is like people are very passionate about a lot of stuff, right? But you have to balance that with other projects that would
Mhm.
provide more financial stability, right? What can you
Oh
share?
yeah.
Because there's a ton of people listening to this and go, I want to do X, Y, and Z because I'm really passionate about it. And you're like, well, is that really going to are you going to get the return on effort? As one of
Yeah.
my friends, Dave Stack, always talks about, are you going to get that return on effort on that project, or should you be looking at something else that's more financially viable?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's like I'll have a neat idea and I'll think, wow, I really want to do this, but also I don't really want to do the work. And so you can have the neat idea, just find somebody else to implement it. I've got a VA that in the Philippines that for years she did graphics and social media primarily for me. And recently, I still want to do more stuff with prepping, more education. And these faceless YouTube channels are coming out all over the place. And so I got in touch with her because she does some video editing. And I said, hey, why don't we use some of my followers, some of my branding, and you start a faceless YouTube channel. You run it, you do everything, use my branding, and we'll split it 80-20 because she's doing all the work. So as soon as we monetize that YouTube and all the affiliate income that comes in from it, she's going to make the lion's share because she's doing the work. I'll make a few bucks, and it's a whole nother income stream that is almost passive for me.
Yeah. One of the areas that is just, I look at this and I'm like, I've never seen such a big opportunity. And I know you and I had spoken about this, is the homeschooling and
Oh,
actual education space. I don't
yeah.
think people understand what's happening in the United States. I mean, you've seen some mainstream news articles here and there saying, hey, what happened to all these kids? They're not in school anymore. It's the homeschooling like area is just exploding, right? What opportunities do you see there as an entrepreneur? Because I look at that and I'm like, man,
Oh,
this is unbelievable. And you've already seen in that education space companies like the Tuttle twins with Connor
mhm.
Boyack. I've interviewed him on the show. You've got what is it? Brave Books is another one. There's a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
other,
I just
yeah, a
saw
lot
them
of
at
other
a conference
companies.
here a while back.
Yeah. What opportunities are you seeing in that space? Because it's just mind blowing what's happening there.
Oh yeah, and it's really neat if you kind of go outside the box, because most people with homeschooling, they only think curriculum. Like I'm going to write curriculum, sell it, but oh, I don't want to do the conferences and all that because that's a lot of what it would require. There's so many other opportunities. I've got friends that are working the educational associations. Like here in South Carolina, we have to sign up with a third party association to report grades and things like that too. And basically, that's an in-home, do it remotely by computer job where you could set up an association and you're just storing paperwork and you're reminding people to report your attendance at the end of the year, that kind of thing. So you could help people with legislation. And I'm not saying you have to be a lawyer or a politician, but I'm talking about helping people get started in homeschooling. And really, all that would take is understanding a lot of the state law, or like anything in the world, just knowing where to look it up. But let's say somebody in Nevada or Oregon or Pennsylvania or anywhere wants to homeschool, you need to understand the laws. And so you could be a consultant to help people with that. I've got a friend that's an engineer. I interviewed him on my podcast a while back, and he was so sick and tired of being an engineer, just a typical, I'm going to sit here and draw up plans on a computer kind of stuff. And he is doing an entire homeschool curriculum now based on teaching engineering to middle school age kids. It's called Misfit Geniuses. I don't even think he's launched it yet, but he's taken all his engineering knowledge and he's doing these booklets where it's like he creates a story, kind of like the Tuttle Twins type stuff, because they've done an amazing job with
Yeah.
story. And so he creates this story, and then all the education is almost like hidden within the story because these kids are trying to escape from a prison. And so draw up plans to escape. How do you do this? What's the math in doing this thing? And it's amazing how you can use so many fun things to educate your kids that the public school has forgotten.
Yeah, it's from the start of it, like to your point, like if you look at the whole journey of like, okay, we've decided that we're gonna homeschool. All right, well, where do you start? To your
Yeah.
point, the laws in each state. So there's opportunities right on the front. Then there's opportunities in, co-ops, curriculum, content, books, workbooks, all this kind of stuff. Then there's opportunities within the co-ops even, right?
Mhm.
And creating curriculum, courses, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, like I've just seen like the co-ops just in the area that we're in Pennsylvania. There's so many of them now, like coming up. And then the other thing is, there's a lot of people that will spend a lot of money on
Mhm.
tutoring
Oh, yeah.
services for the kids. Like to your point, your buddy that's an engineer, I mean, he's got a very, very good skill set there because your STEM kind of like courses,
Mhm.
that I mean, the tutor the demand for tutors in STEM is going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
So and there's a ton of people that would pay really good money for great tutors for their children. No, it's incredible. I look at this and I'm like, I don't think people understand how exciting the education space is, and it's
Yeah.
just the whole philosophy is, again, everything starts with philosophy. You're not going to go into the public education like school system and fix that. You
No,
can't.
it's too
It's
bloated,
not
too
going to
big.
happen. Yeah, you're going to have to build something that's an alternative outside of that competes with that eventually makes that obsolete, right?
Yeah. Yep. And the neat thing is, a lot of states, like where I'm at in South Carolina, my kids can still take advantage of some of the public school system, like sports.
Yep.
Most of my kids have played varsity football, and I've got a son right now that's in JV football. And so they can take advantage of what they want to without having to put up with all the crap.
Gotcha. Yeah, there. I mean, again, the if you're an entrepreneur listening to this and you're looking for ideas and and education is one of them, this is a no,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
an absolute no brainer. And to zone in a little bit on homeschooling too, um, what you talk about deschooling your children. What are some of the core principles to deschooling, and then also what are some of the things that you can share in some of your insights on your approach to education? What education is, because that's changing too.
Yeah, yeah, no. As far as deschooling goes, it's weird because it's like you said, it's a philosophy, it's a mindset you have to take parents and kids away from. I'm a member of a lot of the Facebook groups locally and for homeschoolers, and a lot of the new ones will pop in and they'll say, "I don't know how to do this. Like, what do I have to do to pull my kid out of school?" And here in South Carolina, at least, usually the answer is just you sign this form for the school, and then you just take them home and let them enjoy life. And so deschooling a lot of times is convincing the parents that number one, you are more than qualified to educate your own kids. Matter of fact, you're more qualified because you know your kids and you can learn their passions. And so not only are you a better teacher, but it's sometimes a matter of teaching them or unteaching the parents that you don't have to follow a set curriculum. You don't have to test at these certain tests at certain grade levels. Some of my kids, matter of fact, in math, most of my kids are grades ahead of their age in math. As far as language arts, we might do younger stuff for them for language arts to learn grammar, all the commas and semicolons and all that mess, while at the same time they're writing books. I mean, some of my kids have written books that are for sale on Amazon right now, and they're still in middle school and elementary school. And so it's so much fun. And deschooling is usually just changing that mindset that everything the public school system has taught you about the system, not so much all the education, because most of that's bad too, but the system, the way they do things in public school, the factory education, it's all wrong. And you don't have to do it that way. And so
Right.
my philosophy for education is when my kids graduate, I want them to know how to be a competent, responsible adult that can make a living. That's it. I don't care if they can recite dates in history or name all the emperors of Rome or anything like that. I want them to be able to get a job and make a living and raise their own families.
Problem solving is the big one too, right?
Oh,
I feel
critical
like
thinking and problem solving.
critical thinking and problem solving is the two big things that were taken out of education right away in the public education, at least.
Yeah.
And if you read the works of John Taylor Gatto, which is I would recommend to anybody. He was regarded as one of the top
Mhm.
educators, right, in the U.S. public school system, and
Yeah.
he wrote a book, incredible books of education, what it is, and he actually called it weapons of mass instruction of how bad it is. That's the title of one of his books. And he was actually providing solutions and sharing, hey, this is what an education should be. And he actually tried and tested a lot of these things
Mhm.
as an educator, and it all worked. But those were the two big things, right? Critical thinking and also problem solving. Believe in your ability to figure things out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and a really neat thing, just kind of a case in point with all this right now. As we're recording this right now, my 11-year-old daughter is down the street at a neighbor's house, training the neighbor's dog. She has already set up her own side business as a dog trainer, and the way we blend that in with passions is she's making money. It's a paid job, and we're teaching her dog science, animal behavior. I mean, there's so many ways we can spend all the subjects into this, but she's already making a living at her age.
that's that's incredible, incredible. We talk a lot about business. We talk about investing, and we talk about all forms of capital. Which we're talking about like physical, family. Not just money. And I have a legacy question that I usually ask folks. I usually ask, if you cannot pass on any money to future generations and you were only allowed to pass on three principles or values to them to achieve happiness and success and build wealth, what would they be?
All right, so let's see. Number one would be do what you want to do. And I'm not saying in a bad way, but be the person you were meant to be. That first one is just being true to yourself. Don't put on the golden handcuffs that a corporation is going to give you unless that's your thing. Don't get stuck somewhere you don't want to be and waste years, because I've done that. And I look back, and some of my biggest regrets in life are wasted years, not being the person I was meant to be. A second one would be, let's see, I usually say it much more crass. I'm not sure if your audience would like me saying it that way. So I'll phrase it as moderation is for wimps. I usually use a different word for wimps, but just go wholehearted into everything you do. Just be unstoppable, whatever it is that you're getting into. And the funny thing is, even if you're on the wrong path, let's say you took the job you shouldn't have, or you're trying out a new entrepreneurial venture, still go for it wholehearted, because if it's not the path you're supposed to be on, you'll just find out faster that it's the wrong path. And so go into it all the way, no moderation at all. And then the last one would, I've kind of already said it with the others, but just be unstoppable. Have so much determination, so much courage, so much not caring what other people think that you can't even stop yourself, let alone other people putting a stop to what you're doing.
You also, that's fantastic. I appreciate it. You also have a legacy project that you're working on. It's funny that I'm trying to tie it in here with that legacy question for you. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've got a small 5-acre farm and some land beside me, 100 acres. It's actually more than 100, but I'm zeroed in on 100 acres, and I'll tell you why. It opened up beside me, and they're wanting to develop it. And we're talking just ugly, nasty, cutting down all the trees, killing all the animals, all the houses that are going to be built will look the same. It's just typical American suburbia that's going to show up in this place where right now bears, turkeys, deer, coyotes, everything lives in there. And so I want to save this. It's right beside my farm. It's 100 acres, so I'm calling it the 100-acre farm. It's going to be a Winnie the Pooh themed agritourism farm, kind of like the 100-acre wood from Winnie the Pooh. And the thing is, it's such a big task and such a big dollar amount that it's beyond what I would be able to do in my own power. And so I'm doing a Kickstarter. I'm praying a bunch. I'll go out and just walk that property and look and listen and pray. And so the 100-acre farm is just me trying to keep some beautiful forest and animals from going full on Lorax mode, where everything's just chopped down. And that's something I want to build it's gonna last beyond me, that I'll leave behind to my kids, my grandkids, and that's gonna be my legacy. Possibly my opus. I don't know.
Amazing. Tell me a little bit about the homesteading too. Have you started to dive into that? What have you guys got going over there?
Yeah, we are growing some small crops already, and got plans for more. And I'm getting big into regenerative agriculture and permaculture, where it's not a typical farm where a tractor just goes out and tears up the ground everywhere, and you see rows and rows of one single crop. I'm looking at growing a bunch of different stuff here and a lot of shade-grown crops. There are a lot of things you can grow under the trees without destroying the trees. And that way, because I literally get distracted by squirrels looking right now outside my window, and I don't want to run my squirrels off. And so I love all the animals and the pets and everything. And we're going to branch out into animals soon. We're wanting to get some guinea birds, not just chickens, but guinea birds. And
nice.
My wife wants to get a water buffalo at some point. Just some interesting stuff that we're wanting to do here on the homestead.
That's very interesting. Definitely, I'm excited to follow your journey as you guys bring on more and more animals there. Dr. David, where can my listeners and my viewers, where can they follow you? And then where can they just keep in touch and stay informed of all the many different things that you're involved with and all of your great books that are available? Where can they access that?
Everything is available at redteamgoals.com. redteamgoals.com. And if you want to check out the legacy project, it's the100acrefarm.com. 100 spelled out just like in the Winnie Pooh books.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing your journey and your knowledge and providing so much value for all of my listeners and my viewers.
Oh, absolutely. You know what I'm going to do as soon as we get through talking is I'm going to tear into this Get Wealthy for Sure book that was recommended to me. Because you're doing some amazing stuff too. I've been digging into some of the other podcasts and learning quite a bit from you as well.
Awesome. Appreciate you, my friend. And thank you to all of my listeners and my viewers for, again, spending your most valuable resource, your time, with me on the show today. Everything Cashflow Ninja is at cashflowninja.com. That's cashflowninja.com. Over 1,000 podcasts. We've got 4 books, reports, webinars, and much, much more, all at cashflowninja.com. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the #1 newsletter in the alternative wealth strategy and alternative asset investing space, the Wealth Dojo. You can subscribe to the Wealth Dojo by going to cashflowninja.com/subscribe. Until next time, live infinitely.
This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objectives, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.